Welcome to PENSARE Basketball Live. The Toronto Raptors beat the Brooklyn Nets somehow by divine miracle. They play horrible basketball for the first half, and a lot of terrible basketball was played in this basketball game. And while a win is a win and you win by 10 and you feel good and everyone's laughing on the bench, I've never been one to shy away from critique after a win. I don't care about wins and losses. I care about process. It's the same thing over and over with this team. Players are not being physical. The ball is not moving. It is sticking too often. It is predictable. Fast breaks, 4-on-2s are being smoked. There was a point in tonight's game. This is not going to be a super long live, just to let y'all know. There's probably a more detailed, thorough analysis of this game. But honestly, this is one of those games where you take it, you get out of there with a win, you get back in the win column. You are now officially 6-5. You will next face the Cleveland Cavaliers on Thursday, coming off of back-to-back. Hopefully you can get that. They are resting guys, I think, tomorrow. So it's a little bit disingenuous to call it a back-to-back because they'll probably be healthy to face you. Ryan Harris saying that first half defense was abysmal. It totally was. I need to be on a playback stream at 11 o'clock or 11:05. So I'm going to have to rush through this as fast as I can. I'm going to do the film breakdown. If there are callers, we will take about 15 minutes of callers towards the end. But let's get to this, man. There was a little sliver of time where the Brooklyn Nets, who were 10-point underdogs coming into this game, were actually favored to win this game. That in and of itself is an embarrassment. Now, I understand that anyone can beat anyone. The undermanned Pistons went into Washington and nearly lost and took overtime, but they were severely undermanned. And the Raptors were not undermanned tonight. They were without two rotational pieces. Ochai Agbaji, who's been playing horrible, and they were without Sandro Mamukelashvili. And Spreadsheet FC would tell you the Raptors have no chance of really winning games without Sandro Mamukelashvili right now, okay? Sandro does everything for everybody, and it's funny because, Louis Sassman in an article wrote that Scotty with Sandro averages like 46 per 100 possessions, and without him averages like 23. Esfandiar Barhani shared a stat the other day that said that the Raptors on-off split or net differential with Sandro on and off the court was like 20 points. And that checks. What he does is very important. So without Sandro, without Ochai, the Raptors are going to have to go somewhere else for offense off the bench. And they found it early with Jacoby Walter. They found a lot of unpredictable hustle from Grady Dick, who actually had a pretty good game despite shooting 3 for 7. I liked his effort overall. Jacoby had a pretty decent game despite shooting 2 for 6. Jamal Shed was a quarterback. He was a steadying force, even though he ends the game -4. I don't think I disliked his process very much. And Colin Murray-Boyles, apart from a couple of ticky-tack fouls that he probably shouldn't have gotten, including fouling a three-point shooter, Michael Porter Jr. on that shot, I think overall his compete level was good. His playmaking was good. He had a really nice behind-the-back pass in a sequence that can only be called beautiful game Spurs-esque. Scotty Barnes does Scotty Barnes things. He gets 15 points on 9 shot attempts, battles foul trouble pretty much the entire night, and he ends the game on a +10. I think in the third quarter, when the Raptors were sort of teetering a little bit, I think he really put his foot on the gas pedal and really helped his team turn it around. And Jakob Poeltl, he had 12 points and 10 rebounds, finally regaining some of that touch and efficiency around the rim. Honestly, he presents a very nice target for the Toronto Raptors. When you get stuck, just throw it to Yak. He'll put it up at the rim. And typically he's very effective and very efficient. And to start the season, he was not really himself. Defensively, he got blown by a couple of times, many times, by Michael Porter Jr., Noah Clowney, Nick Claxton. It didn't look good early for Jakob Poeltl, and it didn't look good for the Raptors starters. Brandon Ingram has possibly the quietest 25 points in NBA history. You barely felt him out there. That's kind of how he likes it. That's the Slim Reaper. RJ Barrett had the loudest 13 points in the history of human civilization. Holy shit, Shannon. You're going to want to cover your ears because this was the RJ Barrett disaster class. Don't let that 6 for 21 fool you. There was a lot of heroics and garbage time there to help bring him up past the 8 points, 9 points that he was stuck at. It was an abysmal shooting performance. It was a bad defensive performance. There was a charge in garbage time. Shout outs to RJ getting a charge in garbage time, but there was a ton of, watching the ball just kind of fly past him. Poor rotations, closeouts to shooters were abysmal. The process and transition was bad. There was a lot of stagnant offensive possessions. Emmanuel quickly really kept looking for RJ for inexplicable reasons over and over and over. There was a smoked layup to end the half, which was just such a terrible feeling to end the half because you miss Brandon Ingram coming wide open for a pull-up jump shot that he was no doubt going to hit. And you pass to RJ Barrett for what is better shot, like a better shot. He cuts backdoor behind Michael Porter Jr., who falls asleep on defense, and RJ just smokes the layup. I'm telling you, man, RJ Barrett's touch around the rim has been a very, very good thing to start the season. But over the last couple of games, there's been a lot of like, whew, oh boy, this is not good, right? A lot of floaters going in and out, a lot of, getting blocked at the rim stuff. So, I just need a little bit more of a consistent effort from RJ Barrett. And when you don't have it, pass it because you have really, really talented teammates. Speaking of talented teammates, Emmanuel quickly had a game of two halves. In the first half, I was ripping him. I thought he was horrible in the first half. His process was terrible. His decision making was really bad. In the second half, his shot making just got better. And I think as he eased up, the game kind of came to him and his decision making got a lot better too. So overall, you get 13 minutes and 3 points from Jamison Battle. I thought his minutes were productive, man. I think defensively he competed hard. For the Brooklyn Nets, there's nothing really that stands out in terms of like some monster performance. He had Michael Porter Jr. 21, but he's pretty much averaging 21 in his sleep right now. You do hold him to 5 for 14, which is very good and below season average. Nick Claxton got pretty much whatever he wanted: 21 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. And yeah, to the people who say maybe we should trade for Nick Claxton, yeah, maybe. Can't stand his basketball IQ at times. Yeager Demon, their rookie out of BYU, was cooking up, and he couldn't miss a three in the first half. He started the game 2 for 2, ends the game 4 for 8. Really nice offensive process for him. And, I think Drake Powell gave him some good minutes in the second half as well. He ends up with 6 points on 2 for 6. And he is the one rookie that, on among Nets fan base, that's like the one rookie who wasn't really a point guard. So I think people are more partial to him. But nevertheless, I don't think the Nets played well. I don't think this is a good team. I think this is probably the worst team in the NBA. And there was a moment where you were almost down double digits to the worst team in the NBA. And I think that that's worth noting. I think the Raptors played sluggish. I think they played down to their competition. I think they played lethargic. And it's not one person who did it. It's a lot of it's a lot of players who did it. I think Scotty had some really, really disinterested, lethargic moments, some bad body language moments where he's kind of just trotting up the court. He also had some heroics defensively and on the glass. Thought he was really good in certain points of this game. So really mixed game for Scotty Barnes. But let's take a look quickly at the film breakdown here. I say random offense. Man, this is so random, right? You got Grady Dick, Jamal Shed falling over, Grady Dick saving the ball, passing it back, throwing it, just into blank space. Brandon Ingram, by some divine miracle, captures it, totally off target. Jacoby moves out of space, had already missed 1-3. And here, with the rear contest from Michael Porter Jr., not an easy shot to take. Might as well just pump fake this, but if you pump fake it, you're definitely going to miss it. And boom, this one goes in. And that sparked, a little bit of a momentum shift for the Raptors, like where you start to come back a little bit and you see a couple shots go down. So that was, something, positive to come out of this is that Emanuel Quickley did have 18 points in the second half, and Jacoby Walter seemed to find a little bit of a rhythm shooting the basketball, right? Whew. Here, Scotty Barnes makes this pass perfect to Jacoby Walter right in his shooting pocket. You see how clean that pass is, man. Scotty's passing was like the one takeaway of this game. It's just like I loved his passing process in this game. Really felt like he really embodied that Draymond stuff today. Like he didn't want to do the Jokic stuff. Cool. He didn't want to do the Lucas stuff. He didn't want to do the Kawhi stuff. He just wanted to do the Draymond shit today. And it's like maybe that's what you need, right? You need a game where Emmanuel Quickley, Brandon Ingram can kind of, feel themselves a little bit. BI obviously got fined $25,000 from the league for the water bottle incident, which is being affectionately called Watergate, right? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Scotty, process, man. This is the process. Okay, I like any time where Scotty is bringing the ball up in transition is usually a good thing. Here, perfect. Get the pass to Jamison Battle. Battle attacks an out of control defender here. Finds Jamal Shed. Jamal Shed immediately attacks the out of control defender, and the perfect pass back to Jamison Battle. This possession gave me hope. And to end the first quarter, this sequence, this group right here on the court, Jacoby, Grady, Jamison Battle, Jamal Shed, Scotty Barnes, led to, I think, stabilizing. And then, of course, in the second quarter, RJ comes out and he does this. So this good defense by Grady, right? So this is right in the beginning of the second quarter. Here, you see what happens when Grady just competes and is able to offer some resistance, not just a blow by. Because if you blow by, if you allow blow by, Scotty can't get back into this play. But because Scotty is going to help here, and he closes off that passing angle, right, to Drake Powell. And here, you're going to see Jamison Battle get a block, which I loved, right? It's interesting, right? And here, RJ Barrett gets one of his few easy baskets of the night, and he is able to get, basically he is leading the team in terms of fast break points. Last year, I think one of the leaders in fast break points was Christian Braun of the Denver Nuggets. You need players who can score in transition, who have a skill set to do this. Obviously, RJ is very good at this. Scotty is also very good at this. I think Scotty is top 10 in efficiency across the league in terms of transition scoring. But RJ is so often going to be, the lead man on this because he's so frequently out. And I really don't mind it. Really don't mind it. Here, unfortunately, this is not it though, right? Now, you almost say, like, what would you rather he do? This is just a smoked layup, but you are finishing over length and the 9 to 5, 5 to 9 connection. If you start looking for it, you're never going to stop seeing it, right? Now, here I say CMB has a beautiful mind for basketball. Here, Jakob Poeltl skips it across the corner to CMB. Here, Yegor Demon is going to close out a little bit out of control. Again, read the scouting report. You want CMB to take this. You want CMB to take this, shot. And here, look at how Michael Porter and Noah Clowney leave this little pocket of space, and CMB is going to find this perfect pass. And earlier in the season, you remember when Jakob Poeltl was wearing this mask, he was consistently dropping these. But now he's gonna catch them, right? So now the score was 47 to 44, 45 after that. Here, the play to end the half, right? One of the plays to end the half. This is 1:49 left in the second quarter. And here, Emanuel Quickley once again finds himself on the baseline looking to throw it inbound. Look at Scotty Barnes in the back corner. Just does not care. He's so over this offense right now, right? He's just kind of like standing in the corner, and that's fine. This play is not really for Scotty. But here you'll see BI, you'll see Jakob present themselves, and Emanuel Quickley has to burn a timeout. Why? Why do you have to burn a timeout? You almost got the 5-second violation again. Speaking of Emanuel Quickley inbounding the basketball, hold up. Once again, this is the play to end. Okay, wait. Let me go in sequence order here. So this was the play. This is right to end the second quarter. Toronto Raptors up 8, trying to feel good about themselves going into the halftime. And Brandon Ingram, instead of just attacking downhill and probably finding Scotty in the corner or breaking this defense down, decides, hey, man, RJ Barrett's wide open. He's open for a reason, man. Air ball, unbelievable, terrible game. Just, and it's like, it's not even, okay, the missed shots don't help, man. They don't help because making shots can sometimes distract people from the overall process. I just don't think his overall process was great tonight. And here, Emanuel Quickley is going to look off Brandon Ingram, who's wide open, by the way. Wide open mid-range jumper for the best mid-range jump shooter in the league. You don't even know that this pass to RJ is going to be available. What if Michael Porter cuts this off? If you look off BI, you better have a really good reason. And here, Emanuel Quickley is just like, he's so transparent with this too. Like he just wants to pass. Jakob Poeltl is wide open too. Like, do you see this? Do you see how many people are wide open here? Emanuel Quickley has eyes only for RJ Barrett, right? Ignoring Ingram, ignoring Yak, like just making a super hard pass for no reason whatsoever. And he's just like, hey, RJ, this is a bad team. We both played in New York. Let's get some numbers here and make the Knicks fans envious. Bro, they got OG Anunoby. They don't give a shit about either one of you, right? So just like really bad. I said good things happen when Ford touches the ball, and I mean it. What did I say? When Scotty Barnes dribbles the ball in the middle of the floor, good things usually happen. Here, offense resets here. Yak sets the screen and immediately releases. The Nets horribly send two to Scotty, and Scotty has the size to pass over a power forward like this. Perfect, clean dunk. Amazing, right? Simple pass, man. And as I said, good things happen when Ford touches the ball. Here, Ingram is going to miss this jump shot. Shout outs to Jakob Pertl for at least attempting to box out here. He's going to allow Scotty Barnes to get this offensive rebound, because sometimes you get the offensive rebound and you didn't do any of the work. Scotty didn't do any of the work to get this offensive rebound. This is all on Yak. And here, you're going to see it. Patience, right? You got 13 seconds on the clock. There's no need to rush a shot. There's no reason to make up your mind here. And look at Yegor Demon and Michael Porter Jr. So quickly, intelligently, is going to cut back door, because he knows that unlike when he has the ball in this situation, this time, if he cuts, the pass is actually going to come to him. Scotty can cut baseline to baseline all day long. It's not going to matter. He can cut like sideline, baseline. He can cut down the court. He can find it in transition. I mean, Quickly did find Scotty in transition once in this game, and it was horrible for Scotty. Scotty made Shackton a fool on that play. I said, I need Pablo Torre to investigate this shit, because this was pissing me off, man. I mean, like, my God, here you go. You got Brandon Ingram wide open on the left side. You got RJ Barrett wide open on the right side. And if you manipulate this even a little bit, you got a one on none going downhill. How do you keep looking off Brandon Ingram for RJ Barrett? You must be insane. Like, you have to be crazy to do this. Like, I understand RJ's a pretty decent shooter, but that's Brandon Ingram. What'd I say? I understand RJ's a pretty good player, but bro, you got an option to reset this offense. 18 seconds on the clock. Send this to Ingram. He's got a mismatch. Ingram can do Ingram and Barnes can run two man on the other side. You don't want to do that, because you want to make sure that you want to game the fucking system. This is like Fred and Pascal all over again. It's just like the buddy ball bullshit to get contract shit really annoys me. Like, I would rather just pay RJ Barrett the money he wants, so I don't have to watch this bullshit all season long. Like, I get it, bro, but you're not getting paid to score 22 points. You're not the 22 point per game scorer on this team. You're not required to do that. If Ingram scores 30 and y'all win basketball games, you will probably get paid. If you defend, you will get paid. But Penn, if he passes to Ingram, he can't post 9 to 5 propaganda on his Instagram. That is true. Any guesses on if this shot goes in? Anyone want to take a guess? Like this video if you know this is going to be a miss. Wide open. Miss. Clank. Jesus. Okay. I said, we are not serious, bro. Like honestly, I know we're up 11 here, and I should be happy about that, but I'm not. I'm not happy about being up 11 against a team that is playing like horse shit. Like, look, man, a bad team will occasionally play a good game. That's what happened to the Pistons last night. The Wizards actually played pretty well, and the Pistons found themselves in a dogfight. I can tell you, the Nets played like garbage today. They played like garbage, and the Raptors played like garbage too. This was a garbage basketball game, and neither team really needs to be proud of themselves. There are individuals who can be proud of themselves, but like, bro, you professional basketball player, how are you dribbling the ball like off your hand like this? Okay. I said Emanuel Quickley fined $25,000 for shot selection detrimental to the team. Now, it is worth noting that he literally caught fire like pretty much after this play. Like, he went nuts after he missed this shot. But up until this point, he was smoking these, man. Raptors champs. Weird energy in here. Let me know if it got a little bit nicer in here now that Raptors champs is gone. Good? Is it better now? We good? Cool. Okay. Boom. Building a house, man. Building a house of bricks. Okay. I said Jamal Shed making something out of nothing here. Really, just stalled, stagnant offense. Nearly loses the handle. Just making something out of nothing. Gets to the line. Misses one free throw. I say this is a rookie mistake, and it really is. Right? CMB did everything to get out of the way here, but ultimately just gets a little bit off balance. He's not going to make this mistake twice. He tries everything. Like, how is this? Like, honestly, let me know in the comments after. Is this a foul? Like, I understand that he makes contact with him kind of like incidentally after, but he does everything in his power to not touch him, and he just kicks his leg out into him, and it's a foul. And he gets 3 free throws. That's just a veteran move, man. Now, here I say credit where credit is due. This is a good decision by Emanuel Quickley. Good decision. Okay. Here, RJ Barrett to Emanuel Quickley. Surprise, surprise. Quickley fakes Dwight Powell. Drake Powell. Sorry. I just called him Dwight Powell. Draws 2 to the ball. Makes a simple pass to Jakob Poeltl, who puts it up. As I say, Jakob Poeltl is the ultimate get out of jail free card when you pick up your dribble and you have nowhere to go. And here, I say smart pass, RJ Barrett closing the third strong. Now, Alvin Williams is a lot of things. Alvin Williams is probably a very good dude, but the amount of glaze that he throws towards RJ for making the simplest basketball read. There were 11 seconds on the shot clock to end the game. Okay, to end the quarter. To end the quarter, 11 seconds on the clock. Of course, every halfway decent player, most players in the league would slow down and hold for the final shot. He says, great decision by RJ Barrett, making winning plays, holding it, slowing it down. Like, what are you doing? You were a point guard, Alvin Williams. You were a point guard in the NBA. You know that that's an automatic for every player, like above high school level. And you're just like, wow, it's a great decision by RJ Barrett. No, that wasn't necessarily a great decision. It would have been a completely insane decision to try and force, at the rim when you have nothing going for yourself and you're shooting horribly. But I will say this, that wasn't a great decision. What was the great decision is what he does here. I do like this play by RJ. Here, he's going to take 2, throw the ball to Jamal Shed, trust his teammate. And here, honestly, if the defender recovers into Jamal's drive, there's 1.6 seconds. I still feel like there's enough time to throw this quickly to Grady, but Shed, nobody gets in his way. And this results in a buzzer beater to end the third quarter. The Raptors ended the third quarter on a really, really big run, and they stabilized themselves. Of course, they start out the fourth quarter again, kind of sputtering a little bit. Here's the thing, man. There was a period of time early in the season where the Raptors were really bad at closing out quarters. Lately, they've been really good at closing out quarters. So good, and credit where credit is due. I say great hustle by Grady Dick here. I mean, it really is, right? And good defense by RJ Barrett. Principle of verticality. Love this by RJ Barrett. And here, Grady jumps for the rebound. Far too often, this team is not aggressive enough attacking the glass. It's so almost rare when you see a guy dive for a loose ball. Like when you see a guy try to like hit 2 guys and try to go up over them. It's so rare that happens. And I feel like it shouldn't be that rare, right? It shouldn't be that rare. I say we are the beautiful game Spurs now. Everything about this play is perfect. Everything. Unfortunately, the shot's not going to go in. So this is going to sound a little bit nice behind the back pass. Grady was not expecting that. Grady takes the dribble, throws it behind. And if we could just cut it right here, this is a perfect basketball play. Unfortunately, this happens. But you cannot judge a player on makes and misses. Can only judge a player on process. That is a good shot. Speaking of, shacked in a fool. My God, Scotty Barnes. Emanuel Quickley finally passes to Scotty early. This is simple basketball. But you're jogging, you're overthinking about Terrence Mann on your hip here. And instead of, what the hell is this, Scotty? That was terrible. Like you could tell Scotty was like sleepwalking because he sat most of the fourth quarter and he just like on another planet. Cannot have plays like this, man. You are a max player. You cannot be having plays like that. Like, I understand mistakes happen, turnovers happen. That is a mistake of like a lack of focus. That is just crazy. Okay, here. I actually really love this play. High screen and roll. Jakob Pertl. Manuel Quickley comes down. Defense backs off. Why? And Drake Powell is very late. This team sucks. Like, this team is so bad. It is like insane. Now, October 27th, I said, I have a feeling Emanuel Quickley is going to turn around his season this week. I made several such proclamations that I don't think the tough times are going to last, and et cetera, et cetera. The last few games, he has, quote unquote, turned it around. He's had a better season than he was having before. I will say this, though. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great, man. His process is very, very bad. Emanuel Quickley thinks, let me get mine. If someone takes it away, then I'll look for the next guy. The problem is there are a lot of scorers that do that. Some of them, most of the good ones at least. Luka's like that too, right? Luka's a great passer. Kate's a great passer. There's a lot of great passers in the NBA that think shoot first. Okay, many, right? Tariq saying, "Yo, Rob, discuss this IQ and RJ hate for Scotty Lowkey." I don't think they hate him. I just think they have a different motive right now in terms of what they're trying to do. Speaking of Emmanuel Quickly, I think the shot making was only ever that was never a concern. Emmanuel Quickly making shots or making threes has never been my concern. He's too good a shooter to keep missing threes. I had already said in the beginning of the year that I think that his playmaking around the rim or finishing around the rim, package, layup package, floater package had all leveled up. I had also made a point that I think that he's much stronger finishing through contact and finishing directly at the rim. All of these things do not make up for the fact that his process is very poor. He picks up his dribble way too often. He thinks primarily about himself in terms of, not to say he's a selfish person in any means, but in terms of basketball, he thinks my offense first. Is it open for me? If it is open for him, if he sees something open for him, he will not evaluate what else is open, what might else be open, how might this be taken away. He goes, drives full force into that. And then when it's taken away abruptly because a lengthy defender meets him at the rim, immediately he will pick up his dribble and then start serving for what's my option B. I think good point guards have a good idea of what option B is as they start pursuing option A. Steve Nash, if you watch Steve Nash, really one of the greatest point guards of all time, always probing, head up on a swivel, always probing, right? Jason Kidd, same thing. There is a selflessness to being a point guard. You have to be concerned for your teammates. You have to be concerned for who's rolling. You cannot always be just about yourself. You cannot just be thinking like, well, tonight's my shot, my night. I have it going. You know, you have a 4-on-2 fast break and you smoke it because you decide to take a pull-up three. No pull-up three, other than Steph Curry's pull-up three wide open, is ever going to be more efficient than an open layup. And you're giving up open layups to get RJ Barrett and yourself pull-up threes in early transition. It's nuts. Uh, Matt Trap Beat saying, Penn, do you think Darko will ever give up an IQ as a point guard? I think a true point guard is something that you have or don't have. IQ doesn't have it. I don't know if he can or if he's at the liberty to give up on him because obviously his value diminishes tremendously in the trade market if he starts playing as an undersized two. It is interesting, though, that Darko has decided to start going to a lot of Jamal Shed, Emmanuel Quickley lineups. I think it's also worth noting that at some point the Toronto Raptors are going to have to declutter their wings because they have a lot of them and they're very redundant. They're very redundant. Grady had good moments. Jacoby had good moments. Battle had good moments. RJ had good moments. I'm sure if he played AJ Lawson would have good moments. I'm sure if he played Chucky Hepburn and Jonathan Mobo would have good moments. CMB is having good moments. The point here is you don't have a 7-footer with shot blocking as a primary skill set on this roster. And you have 7 wings, none of whom are like A tier, A class starting wings. And I think your entire team is basically wings at this point, and it's forcing you to play your best players often out of position. I'm seeing RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram playing the 4, Scotty playing the 5. All of this is because you don't have roster balance and you desperately need roster balance. And Bobby Webster and Masai Ujiri, granted Masai is now gone, they have not really been very good at balancing out this roster over the last 6, 7 years, especially since the championship run. So that the past 6 years, we've seen a lot of like wing heavy, big heavy lineups, but no true center. We've seen guard heavy, rotations. We've seen a draft where we pick 3 point guards. Like there's a lot of there's something to be said about best player available. I get it, but it's kind of like what people are saying about the Nets right now. Do you have minutes for Ben Seraph and Nolan Traore and Diego Demon to all develop in the same system? Why is it that Drake Powell is the one who is actually succeeding and Danny Wolf is the one who will probably be the best of the bunch? Is because the roster redundancy makes it hard to get development reps. It's hard to play Jacoby right now because he playing with Grady and Ochai can be difficult at times. I do think the Raptors found something once again. The most obvious solution is Scotty and 4 shooters. It doesn't matter if the shooter is a big shooter like a Lauri Markkanen or Sandro Mamukelashvili. It doesn't matter if it's a big wing shooter like a Cam Johnson. It doesn't matter if it's a guard shooter like Emanuel Quickley, or in this case, Grady plus Jacoby plus Jameson Battle. You seem to find space when you give Scotty that leeway to play with 3, 4 players who move quickly into space and can space the floor. Jamal Shed may not be a great shooter, but he is almost never impacting space negatively. He's always out of the way. He's a decent screener. I think the Raptors really, really need to make a trade. I understand you're 6-5 and there's some nostalgia, or not nostalgia, but like a romanticism in some people that says, no, 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 we have to see this out. Dude, I'm watching at least 6 games every 2 days. I should probably just say I'm watching 3 games a day. It's an insane amount of basketball to consume, but largely I'm watching it because I want to get a really good feel for these teams and because I'm watching games for PC. Like literally right now in 10 minutes, I'm going to be on playback covering the Denver Nuggets versus the Sacramento Kings. So I'll watch 2 more teams. I watch so many teams play basketball, and it is shocking to me how much a team like Denver is gonna, or a team like OKC is gonna whoop the shit out of the Toronto Raptors if they don't get their act together. And again, those are championship contenders, and you're not a championship contender. But when you start going up against a healthy Cleveland, right? The Raptors haven't really beat a good team yet, and I think that that is something that we need to acknowledge. Yes, we can talk about the schedule. Yes, we can talk about the fact that they are above 500. Yes, we can talk about some individual performances that have been good and inspiring. Yes, we can talk about a lot of that stuff. But you beat Memphis without Ja. You beat Cleveland without Mitchell, right? Who is the good team you beat? You beat Milwaukee on a back-to-back when they were dog tired and they didn't show up to play, right? At some point you're gonna face a rested team and you're gonna get exposed. You're gonna get beat by 30 as you can't get a rebound. I know what's coming. I can see it from a mile away. So this is not me pulling the plug on the season and saying, hey, white flag, I don't think the Raptors are gonna be a 46 win team. They will be a 46 win team. You just got a taste of what does the bottom of the East look like. You have to face this team 3 more times. Congratulations. That gives you 9 wins. Now go face Charlotte. That gives you a bunch of wins. Now go face Boston on a night where they're resting Jaylen Brown and Derek White. That'll give you some more wins. Now go face Washington. That'll give you some more wins. And you keep getting more and more and more wins. And Bobby Webster is probably the type of general manager in this situation who's probably going to look at that and be like, we're 6 games above 500. You have the second easiest schedule for the rest of the season, which means the hardest part of your schedule, which should have probably cratered you and made you like 2-8, you just faced a whole bunch of teams that weren't healthy and were super undermanned. You faced the Spurs without De'Aaron Fox. You faced the Rockets without Fred VanVleet. Like these are teams that are decimated by key starters being out. And touch wood, apart from Jakob Poeltl, have been relatively healthy. So relative health can go a very long way. I didn't like Scotty's process throughout the entire game. I thought, there were moments, where he was a great playmaker. There was moments where he was a good defender. There were moments where he was, active on the glass and running in transition. The first four-ish games, Scotty was a really, really bad rebounder, really unwilling. Now, lately, Ingram, Jakob, there's more of a concerted effort to get on the glass and stop getting destroyed on the glass. I do think, though, it is kind of weird to waste one of your 2 best players on this almost 90% defensive role just because your other players are not defensively oriented. And I just feel that that all leads me to believe that the Raptors desperately need to make a trade. You need workhorses. You need guys who can do the dirty work, right? Now, CMB, it's going to be a work in progress. There was some hot moments today. There were some bad moments today, right? There were moments where you probably felt better and more secure with Jameson Battle. There are times where CMB is on the court and Grady's on the court, and you're like, damn, come back soon, Mamu, right? That's a veteran minimum guy. And he's so integral to your team right now that I would almost assume that if you pulled Sandro Mamukelashvili off this team is probably 4-7 right now. So he's making a big dent, obviously. I think there is a trade to be made, and I'm very, very curious. Actually, maybe I want to do a show tomorrow. Actually, I do want to do a show tomorrow. There are several teams in the Western Conference right now that are completely ravaged by either injuries or front office upheavals, and we're hearing a lot about how they want to tear it down, right? We're hearing a lot about how Sacramento wants to tear it down and rebuild. We're hearing a lot about how maybe Dallas wants to tear it down. Is Anthony Davis available? Is Kyrie Irving available? Is Najee Marshall available? I know Cooper Flag ain't available, but are those guys available for the Sacramento Kings? Could we get on Keon Ellis? Could we get in on Malik Monk? Could we make a call about Domantas Sabonis? Not that I necessarily would be for it, but at the very least, it could be an upgrade and a way to rebalance your roster if what it took was, something else. I'm not touching Zach LaVine's contract. I don't necessarily want Dennis Schroeder back on this team, but honestly, watching Emanuel Quickley run point guard makes me kind of miss Dennis Schroeder a little bit. So it's there's some teams that are on the verge of pulling it apart, right? It's going to sound really crazy. It's going to sound really crazy. How would y'all feel about bringing Pascal Siakam back? Would y'all do it? Would y'all do Emanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, and a first-round pick for Pascal Siakam? Would you do it? No? No? Cool. That would be a way to rebalance the shit out of this roster. So I'm just saying, I think at this point, you desperately need to make a trade. Okay, what if the deal included TJ McConnell? Lance Scott saying, can we reassess after 20? Sure. But my question for people who say, let's reassess after 20 is, what is it that you expect to change? What is it that you expect to change? Andrew saying, nah, bro, we'd have no shooting. You do realize Pascal Siakam's a good shooter, right? Why don't we want centers? Well, Siakam's a really good post player. Anyways, in this live, I have actually opined at the idea. I've actually thought mentally about Davion Mitchell too. It's funny. Like, there are players that just haven't worked in Toronto. And I think one of the reasons they haven't worked is because we didn't have Ingram. We didn't have depth. We didn't have a bench, right? You're not getting OG. So you can forget about that. The Knicks are contenders. They just whooped the shit out of the Memphis Grizzlies today. So you're not getting OG. You're not getting those guys. But could you potentially, get, let me just take a look at the standings real quick. All right, let me pull this up. No callers today? Cool. No problem, man. Okay, so here's the schedule. The Raptors face Cleveland Thursday, November 13th, and then Indiana at Indiana. So that completes their road trip. And then they're back home on November 17th to rock out in those dope city jerseys. Shout out to those city jerseys, man. Those are amazing. Rob, check Jaws box score for the next game. Laugh my ass off. Okay, before I look, is it 8 points? I'm not even looking. Is it 8 points? Oh, it's 16 points. I'm 4 for 14. Damn. 16 points, 10 assists. We live with it, man. Cade Cunningham went 14 for 45 or 14 for 46 last night. We're good. OG Anunoby, shout outs to OG, man. And the Knicks get a very balanced effort. Jalen Brunson proven once and for all that he's better than John Morant. Okay. John Morant is checked out. John Morant is on another friggin' planet right now. Okay. Uh, yeah, man. Philly beats Boston. Shock, shock, shock. Okay. Um, Boston is continuing to plummet, 5-7. Philly is continuing to rise, 7-4. So where are we vis-a-vis the standings? We are, yeah, I said it. We are, and Utah is on the verge of beating Indiana. So there you go. There's that. 1-10, 1-10, 1-9. Shout out to the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers are on the verge of becoming 1-10 as well. Should we consider the Indiana Pacers roster? They are rife with very good young talent. I would give them a pick for some of their young talent. And a good way to rebalance the roster would be to make a trade for Jarris Walker. Jarris Walker would be a very interesting player to trade for. I mean, if you look at Indiana's roster, there are plenty of players on this roster that are worth considering and who have a ton of size. Man, they have 7'1" Jay Huff, who can't be traded, but right now, but man, that'd be a good one to get, man. That'd be a good one to get. Aaron Nesmith. Oh, what I wouldn't do for Aaron Nesmith, right? TJ McConnell. That would be a solid backup point guard, starting point guard, even if you make that argument for yourself. You just don't have a lot of pieces that fit. But your front office has a relationship with their front office. And as we just found out with Nico Harrison getting fired today, sometimes the front office is having relationships goes a very long way. Bobby Webster had a relationship with the Spurs. We did like 3 deals with the Spurs, right? So kind of makes sense. Tariq saying predict Raptors next 3 games, Rob. Sure. Or next 5 games. My bad. Next 5 games. Okay. I predict a loss at Cleveland, a win at Indiana, a win versus Charlotte, a loss at Philly, and a win against Washington. So that's a loss, a win, a win, a loss, a win, a win, no way, a win, no way, a win, no way. And so that would put us at cool. So we would be 2 games above 500. Nice. Manny Crypto saying you need to be GM, Rob. I think I'm one of those GMs that would trade like 12 to 14 players a year. That's not good. That's not good. Okay. We're winning at Philly. Well, we can hope so. That would be great. Rob, you want Obi? Not really. His defense kind of terrifies me. Gregory saying in the jungle. Yes. Fantasy basketball GM. Yeah, I would have to learn how to be patient. Yeah. Yes. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the Raptors win tonight. So, yeah, I mean, again, I don't think you could take a lot. Like, look at the games you've won, exclusively the games you've won. You beat a not very good Atlanta team. Then you beat a completely decimated by injuries Cleveland team, Memphis team. Then you beat a decimated by injuries Atlanta team, and they were smoking you in the first half. And you beat Milwaukee on a second night of back-to-back, and now you beat the Brooklyn Nets. These are 6 wins that don't inspire a ton of confidence. You haven't won one of those hard games. Your hardest games so far, in my opinion, were San Antonio, Houston, and Philadelphia. You lost, and lost. You didn't know how to stop Tyrese Maxey. You didn't know how to stop Joel Embiid. You didn't know how to contain Wemby, although you did do a good job containing his shot attempts. You didn't know how to stop Harrison Barnes and everybody else from getting going. And you lost to Dallas, who is a horrible team also. I think there's something to be said here about, like this could be a little bit fake and a little disingenuous. Like I understand 6-5 makes people feel happy. And I don't want to take that happiness away from you after a loss because I think there's plenty of tears to be cried later in the season. I just want to say, like, as an analyst, I'm watching these games and I'm like, you're playing really badly, and how you play and the habits you're forming right now and the rotations and the adjustments and the defense and the tendencies, all of these things are very schemable, and you don't have enough talent like superstar Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic level talent, Nikola Jokic talent. You don't have that singular force talent that is going to actually get you through some of those shitty games, right? So right now, I think the Raptors are in for a very rude awakening. If they face a healthy Cleveland team, I think they're going to get smoked. Like Darius Garland plus Donovan Mitchell plus Jared Allen plus Evan Mobley, like you really don't match up well with that team. You didn't last year either. And I think this team needs a rude awakening. I think this team needs that kind of punch in the face, gut check moment where they play well and then get smoked by 20. And then hopefully they'll wake up and realize that the way they play basketball is not good enough. This is not a team that brings it every single night. This is not a team that actually just plays with the level of effort that we got used to seeing last year. Last year's team was a lot more fun to watch than this year's team. I'm gonna just say that right here, right now. Last year's team was not depressing to watch at all. This team, sometimes the way they play basketball is actually genuinely sad to watch. And I never felt that. Well, I don't want to say never. There was a very, very short period of time last year, sometime around the All Star break, where the Raptors went on a disastrous string of losses where they were losing by 20, 30 points. Hold on. Let me tell you when exactly that was, just so I clarify my own take. I have to get on playback in 2 minutes. So let me just I think it was this right here. Yeah, OKC, the game I literally attended on December 5th, where we got smoked 129-95, and then we lost. And yeah, we proceeded to lose a bunch of close ones. And then there was a period of time where we just were getting smoked. So we went to Memphis and got beat by 30. Then we went to that. Then we faced Atlanta at home and got beat by 30. And then the low point of the season, which was going at Boston and losing 125-71, those were like the sad moments. And then what is the win that gave you your break from the misery? That was actually Brooklyn on January 1st. So shout out to the Brooklyn Nets for always giving Raptor fans a little bit of copium and something to, take a break from, the bad basketball that we're watching. Karen Hall saying last year's team was playing free and easy. That's fair. But what is the great pressure on this year's team to make it to the playoffs in the depleted East? This year's team is playing with agendas. They are playing with ego. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of, soft quitting happening on the glass, on the court. It's not good. The chemistry is not right. Something is wrong with this team. And I say this as the person who said there was something wrong with the 2022 team. There's something going on in this locker room that's not great. And I can see it from the body language on the court. I can see it from the lack of communication. I can see it from the lack of enthusiasm when guys make buckets. Like, this team is playing heavy. They are playing with heavy hearts and heavy minds. They're not playing free. They need either a wake-up call, a trade, or a team meeting, like a conversation. And unfortunately, conversations don't typically happen after you blow out the Brooklyn Nets or beat the Brooklyn Nets by 10. Those conversations, those difficult conversations, typically happen after you get smoked by 40 points against the Boston Celtics. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But shout outs to the Raptors. I have a long-term belief that this team will figure it out, that they have many, many, many pieces that I genuinely believe in going forward. So I really hope this team does figure it out at some point. And Mars Talk Sports saying, put defenders around Scotty Barnes? Question mark. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be great. You know any defenders that are available? Derek White, Tamani Kamara, Dyson Daniels. Yeah, there have been plenty of defenders that have been available over the last few years. And I think we're trying to defend, we're trying to get them now. Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo, CMB. Like, we are obviously trying. But the level of defender that you need next to a Scotty Barnes to create that type of defensive pressure is it's not easy to find. Rob, what do you think is the best bang for a Bucks center we can get in a trade in terms of being realistic and not giving up so much? Okay, well, thank you, Slitherman, for the super chat. I would like to answer this, and I hope I can answer it in the next 2 minutes because I do have to run to playback. Bang for your Bucks center. Now, he's more of a finesse big, but Santi Aldama, does fill a lot of needs, and the Memphis Grizzlies are in a lot of trouble, in terms of their cap flexibility and all that stuff. In terms of centers who are like bang for your buck, I mean, it's hard to say go build a time machine and go trade for Mark Williams, or, not that I'm a fan of Mark Williams. Go draft Ryan Cockburner. These centers are available in every draft. There will be plenty of centers who are stretch fives who can stretch the floor. Walker Kessler, if I recall, is out for the season. Am I wrong about that? He's out for a while. Day'Ron Sharp is my answer, actually. Yeah, that's a pretty simple answer. Day'Ron Sharp, Goga Batase, these are centers that I would look at. Robert Williams is not a bad idea, actually, Dedrick Foreman, but he is actually playing very meaningful minutes for the Blazers right now. Yeah, that's who I would do. So yeah, that's who I would trade for sure. So the man, thank you so much for the super chat. To all of you, thank you for so much for tuning in. No call-ins today. seems that there's no Collins and I've run out of time. So I'm going to get my ass on playback, go watch the Denver Nuggets. If you would like to watch playback with us, please check us out. It is playback.tv/players choice. You can come and, if you're early enough, you can get a VIP and watch the game with us. Denver versus Sacramento could be a really cool game. Could be a chance to see a mega upset, or could be a chance to see more Jokic domination. He has genuinely been the best player in the league, and I don't think it's that close. Talk to y'all later. Have a great one, and make sure to hit like on this video. Little ball goes bounce, bounce, bounce when you do. Peace, guys. Bye-bye.